the PCSS Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Buddy Pearson, the Communications and Marketing Supervisor here at the Putnam County School System. Well, there is something good cooking up at Cookeville High by the Culinary Arts Department. The CHS students are getting some great training while cooking up some great meals. Let's take a look. What are y'all cooking?
We're doing eclairs.
Okay. So what are you cooking?
We're cooking sopes. It's a Mexican dish. Yeah.
What all goes into it?
Masa harina, queso fresco, and then onions, lettuce, avocado, lime, green pepper, and green tomato.
How long does it take to cook?
Like an hour? Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to try it.
Yeah.
Have you cooked it before?
Yeah, we
Yes,
have.
we have.
Okay. Is it delicious?
Yeah, it is.
What are you cooking?
Eclairs.
So this is their actual first food lab for the school year. The assignment was dining room service assignment, and they had to pick a country, and they had to tell me all about that country. As much as they could tell me, they had to tell me interesting facts about it. They had to compare breakfast, lunch, and dinner to that from that country. Then they had to pick a recipe, and they had to. They're either in individuals or groups. Most of them are in groups, and now they're making that recipe from that dining room assignment today. So, and you've got them making them from all different places. I do have one student making an American cheeseburger, and he just compared his stuff to a different country. He kind of just did the opposite. So they are all divided into tables. There are 5 official tables in here, and then I have some little smaller ones for people who like to work alone. Everything in here is industrial, so everything is gas, and things that students would actually, when they go out into the workforce, these are things in commercial kitchens that they're actually going to be using. Sorry. We have double ovens. We actually have another one there. We use these most often. A warmer, it's actually 2 warmers. Our speed racks for being able to quick access stuff. Everything is industrial in here. Industrial freezers and refrigerators. And these are things that they will use in a commercial kitchen in the workforce. So then again, these are 2 separate work tables for groups. And then these are the other work tables that they're working from. We have just about every spice you can think of, about every kind of flour. This is where all the staple ingredients stay, and then all the other stuff that doesn't have to be refrigerated. That way students know where to come and look for things. Some of this stuff is for events, and so I separate things. so that students know that things that are on the carts are usually for events, and everything on the shelf is for labs or other things. So we just got a sprayer, which is super exciting. That sprayer was put on this summer, and it makes washing dishes easy. But when the health inspector comes, everything has to be separated. So we wash, we rinse, and then everything goes into this blue sanitizer that has to be left in there for at least like 30 seconds or more. And then we take everything out and put it on drying racks. And he even tests our water when he comes, and if it's not blue enough, he'll let us know. And then this is probably every utensil you can think of. So this is from one of the other classes. This is my group of girls that made this from their country. This is creme brulee with strawberries, and they made homemade meringue.
So this is part of the perks of having a podcast is, you have to taste some things every now and then. So this is creme brulee made here by the Cookeville Culinary Arts Department. Oh, that's a good bite right there. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Whoever made this gets an A, for sure. Gets an A, and a special guest spot on the podcast. Thank y'all for. Like Gordon Ramsay and the Magic Chef Kitchen. We welcome in Faith Johnson, the person who is in charge of the Cookeville High Culinary Arts Department. Faith, welcome to the PCSS Connection Podcast.
Thank you.
I know you've had a busy day cooking
Yes.
up some grub. Now, how long have you been with the Culinary Arts Department?
This is only my second year at Cookeville High School.
Okay. So where were you at before then?
Cumberland County.
Yeah. So what made you want to come and take over the Culinary Arts Department?
So I taught in Cumberland County for 14 years.
Okay.
And prior to that, I taught in Marion County for 2 years. So this is actually my 18th year teaching.
Wow.
But I live here in Putnam County. I've lived here since I was 18 years old, and I was really tired of driving. And when this job opportunity came open, I took it. Yeah.
Well, now, in your previous 16 years, have you done cooking stuff at other schools?
So my degree is in human ecology.
Okay.
So my concentration was actually fashion merchandising and design, and I have a minor in business.
At Tennessee Tech?
However, at Tennessee
Yes,
Tech,
human ecology department.
I went
They're
back and
awesome.
got my master's in education with my certification to teach. And so I've been teaching teen living to 5th through 8th grade for 14 years in Cumberland County. So we have done all kinds of stuff just on a lower scale.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is just on a much larger scale and just bigger portions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you cook in your spare time?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
What's your best dish?
Oh gosh.
Or what do you like to cook the most? Do you like to bake? Do you like to grill?
I like to grill. I grill a lot. I grill a lot of seafood, chicken. That's mostly what we eat in our house. Use the crock pot a lot, to be honest. I really do. There's some really
And
great
you should.
meals. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Culinary Arts
Okay.
Department, because they have a pretty good tradition of being top-notch. And you don't really see this at a lot of different schools, especially, I guess it's the only one in Putnam County.
This is the only one in Putnam County.
Yeah. So what is it like? I mean, a student comes in and says, okay, I'm here, and now what do I do?
Okay, so I have Culinary 1 students. That is where they start. They can't skip over to Culinary 2 and 3. They've got to take everything in order. And so that's where they're learning their basics.
Okay.
They're doing safety and sanitation, because we do have a health inspector that comes in twice a year.
Awesome.
He just came in last week. And so they have to know all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then they have to start somewhere. So they come in, and that's where they start. And then by the end of the year, they either realize, hey, this is for me, or this might not be for me. So
And when you say some of the basics, you know,
knife cutting skills, learning to make things in big portions like we do. So like I'll demo how to make chocolate chip cookies that we need for 200 servings, or brownies that we need for 100 servings, because we have these big sheet pans. Then I teach them how to score stuff, things like that.
and then when they go to the Culinary 2 and Culinary 3, then what are they working on?
And more advanced, much more advanced. Their assignments are more advanced. They have to have more graphics on them. They have to have more detail on them, more math in them, and then their lab assignments, like the ones that are doing that now were my culinary ones last year.
Yeah.
And so, and then also they're the ones that I rely on when we have big events. So like the event that we did for the luncheon last week.
Right, yeah.
Those are my culinary 2 and 3 students. Those are the ones that put everything together, like from the tablecloths all the way to the food.
And that was like some bacon wrapped chicken, some Brussels sprouts, which I don't really care for, but those were good.
Those were
were
deep
really
fried
good.
and
Those
tossed
were really
in
good.
balsamic vinaigrette.
Yes, they were.
Yes.
So I was just so impressed by the presentation, what they do. They're just, they seem like they really enjoy the class.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
The ones that I have in class. This year, I have more sophomores in my Culinary 1 class, which surprised me, but it's because they wanted to take it as freshmen last year, and they didn't get a chance to.
Okay.
And so they were like, please put me in that class, which makes me feel really good. So that means there's good vibes going around, yeah.
How many students do you have altogether?
In all 4 classes, about 85.
Wow, that's great. Now, do you see these students, I know you've been there a couple of years, but have there been students that have gone on to maybe pursue that in college or to go be a chef at a restaurant, or maybe they want to pursue the line of cooking?
Yes, okay, so last year, taking over from the previous teacher, there is one of my students that is working at the Putnam Room.
Oh, wow.
Very creative. He was my student of the year last year. And then I have some kids that are doing work-based learning that are also working in at the new Fire and Vine.
Yeah.
So they're working there, and they're actually helping out at the Putnam Room. Chad Combs reached out and said, hey, you got any students? He has some of the previous teachers' students still. He has
Wow.
like 2 or 3 of hers that are there, and
That's great.
they're his chefs. So yes. Mhm.
So they're getting real life experience at Cookeville High School, and they're going out and they're using it. And they're probably also cooking up some good stuff at home, which is
Yeah,
important.
I'm sure they are, yeah.
Well, do you ever watch any of like the Magic Chef or Gordon Ramsay stuff?
I do.
Do you?
I do.
I mean,
yeah.
if you love food, you got to do it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So one time, my daughter, when she was sick, she's 6, but I was at home all day with her, holding her. I watched cooking shows literally all day long. I never changed the TV.
Yeah.
It's like, once you start watching them, they're very addicting. They're,
A little different. Gordon Ramsay's a little different than Julia Child.
yeah.
Just a
yeah.
little.
I think that particular was Halloween Wars, but it's really interesting watching them
It
do
is.
all that stuff.
Cupcake Wars, I
Yeah, Cupcake
mean-
Wars. Yeah, we have Cupcake Wars in the spring.
Really?
At Cookeville High School.
Yeah. If you need a judge.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll let you know what it is this year. So, really impressive. When I took over, they had sold like 1,400, almost 1,450-ish, somewhere in there. Cupcakes, I couldn't fathom in my mind, so the previous teacher was telling me. And the only complaint that I'd heard was, hey, they ran out before second lunch. And there's 4
Wow.
lunches. And so I challenged my kids last year to make twice what they did. Just
Yeah.
let's see what happens. So we ended up selling about 2,700.
Wow.
Yeah, which was amazing.
lot of
It's a
cupcakes.
lot of cupcakes, and it was a lot of hard work. Took us 4 or 5 days to clean, but my kids, they pulled it off. They did it, and they did a great job.
So when you're not instructing your culinary arts students, what is Faith Johnson doing?
I have a 5-year-old. Well, he's about to be 5 Saturday. And I have a 5-year-old son and a daughter that's 6. That'll be 7. So, my husband and I are usually taking care of them, and that's a full-time job.
Yeah,
Yeah, outside of work. So
that's awesome.
that's it.
Well, we're so glad that you decided to come back to Putnam County and not stay in Cumberland County and head up this this is a great program. This is awesome. I mean, to give kids this real life experience and for it to be unique in what it is. I mean, I think that says a lot.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have that here, and I think more schools should have it.
All right, Faith Johnson with us. She is, what is your official title?
Culinary arts teacher.
Culinary arts teacher at Cookeville High School. Thanks so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
And the PCSS Connection continues with a look at our VITAL program, and that is virtual instruction to accentuate learning. And here to talk about our VITAL program is the principal of the VITAL school, and that's Shannon Pirtle. And Shannon, thanks for being with us. And I know that you're so busy, but I'm trying to wrap my head around how is a principal of a virtual online learning thing, how is that different, or what do you actually do as a principal?
Well, thanks so much, buddy. It's great to be here with you. And a lot of folks would think it would look drastically different, you know. And a lot of times their foundational knowledge goes back to remote learning with COVID and all of that. But that's really not what we do.
Okay.
It looks more traditional than you would think. We're just reaching people in different ways. So instead of all of our students coming to us in one place, we're just taking the education to them. So our 3 through 8 curriculum is the exact same curriculum that we've adopted throughout the district, which is great curriculum for Tier 1. And then our 9 through 12 is a Florida virtual learning curriculum, which is more independent. Students can work at their own pace. They can work ahead. They can finish early and do those things. And that's all standards-based as well. So in some ways it's very traditional, and in some ways it's not. We're just taking the learning to our people instead of them all coming to us.
So say I'm a student, say I'm in the 6th grade and I want to do VITAL instead of going to one of the middle schools here in Cookeville. What would I need to do, and how would the setup and what would be the procedure for all that?
Well, typically at this time of the year, we'll get a notification from one of the partner schools, or unless someone transfers in and they'll contact us directly. But during the pre-registration time, usually starting back in April, like everyone else does, folks can sign up with us, and we'll go through a process of onboarding them and teaching them all they need to know about VITAL and how to connect with the teacher in the online world. And then once that's up and rolling, our teacher will reach out to the parents, the teacher will reach out to the student, and then get them in the Zoom links and make sure everything's working. And from then on, we have real-time sessions with our 3 through 8th grade students. So they're synchronous. We're meeting all at the same time in our classes. But we don't spend 6 and 7 hours a day online, though.
Yeah.
Usually we like to have about 2 to 2.5 hours of FaceTime with the teacher. That's where the core instruction happens.
Okay.
And then the rest of the time is asynchronous. They're working independently on what the teachers have provided for them.
Okay.
A lot of times our teachers will embed videos of themselves and pointers and how-tos on things they know they're going to struggle with, or the feedback that they've got on things they have struggled with. But that's typically our typical day in our virtual classes, 3 through 8.
So you say 3 through 8. Is there high school also?
There is. Our 9 through 12 classes, as I mentioned, they're a little bit more independent. Those students can handle that. And they're really more college-like.
Really?
The skills that we're giving them are really what colleges are demanding now. The level of independence, of course, we have to train that. The independence for a 9th grader looks different than independence for a 12th grader.
Right.
But their modules are more independent. They can work on them at their own pace. They can finish early. They have access to teachers. Every module has a teacher behind it. The teachers are also monitoring their progress, and they have to check in with their teachers for real-time meetings, just like we're doing here about their knowledge before they can take their module test. So that's pretty powerful. It's rare in even a traditional setting that students speak with their teachers individually, just as we are now, for any length of time. There's too many students to do that. It's
Right.
so hard, and I know all of our teachers make attempts to do that, and they do a good job of it. But it's just harder in an environment where you have 30 kids right in front of you,
Yeah.
and you're having to tend to them and having these one-on-one, real powerful conversations. But it can be done. It's just tough.
So talk about what it looks like to be a teacher in the VITAL program.
Well, we have hybrid learning environments as well. So we bring students into the labs.
Okay.
We can bring students into a classroom rotation, 9 through 12. So we have some teachers that will have a few students in front of them, sometimes up to 20, depending on the day and those individual student needs and how we've collected them, where they need to be. But the rest of the time, they're teaching virtually for their students. So when they're meeting in real time with them, with DVAs, the discussion-based assessments, or the younger grades where it is synchronous, that looks very, very class-like. It looks traditional where most people would understand it and recognize that. And then the other, it just depends on what the student's needs are. Those interactions are based on student productivity, and if they need more of the teacher, then we'll align that through our labs. We'll align that through individual teacher meetings or small group meetings. And then we also have a student success coordinator, Ms. Becky White. She does all of our RTI Future Ready groups, and then she also helps with our 9 through 12 students, just making sure that all of our contracts are up to date. And what I mean by contracts, if they come into a hybrid learning environment, maybe they come in 1 day a week, and then everything else is totally virtual. Maybe they come in half a day a week. Maybe they come in 3 days a week. It just really depends on what they need. So it's hard to answer that question. It's all student-based, and I think that's what makes VITAL so special, is that we have something for everyone, and we can tailor those needs very specifically to the family dynamics and the student learning dynamics.
You know, to me, this sounds pretty awesome and would have been great had I have had it available to me when I was, going to school. But Do you think people really understand or know that this is available out there?
I think a lot of people do, and we've had a lot of students that have come our way very, very successfully. But I also think a lot of folks go back to their own experience. I mentioned the remote learning, and that was tough on everybody. I had a kiddo at home during remote learning, and I'm an educator, and that wasn't for me in that instance. But the way we do it, VITAL's been around since '09 in Putnam County as a program, and then building into a school. So we've really got a good plan of how to reach students in a virtual world. We've been doing it a long time. So we were not just a response to COVID. We were already doing these things.
Gotcha.
So I would just like to encourage folks to think if that was their experience during COVID was the same as mine with remote learning, that is not what we do at all.
Okay,
no, ours is all with intent, targeted instruction for our students, just for virtual learners.
Yeah.
So it's a little different than what it was back then.
Now, how did you get involved in the VITAL program?
Well, I'd met Sam Brooks several years ago, and at this time, I was just observing what he was doing in the lab there at Upperman High School, and I was just blown away. There was probably 30, 40 kids in there, and it seemed to me they were all working on something different in one class, and so that intrigued me a whole lot. At that time, I was assistant principal at the middle school then, but students were taking courses that we didn't even offer in our district. I think one kid might have been taking Mandarin or something of that nature, and we certainly didn't offer that in a big way at that time. And then when I became assistant principal at Upperman Middle School, and when that school was built, I got to know the program a little bit more. We started using some VITAL courses, personal finance and things for our students that were on accelerated pathways for 7th and 8th grade students. And then as principal through at Upperman Middle School, we had great partnerships with VITAL. They were just great support systems for us. And then once again, during COVID, they were the district support system, just to help do the best we could with getting information out. So that's kind of my lineage with VITAL. And then when the job opened, that was an opportunity that I was able to move into.
And making as I said this before, you're making the shift from being in a brick and mortar type of school to now kind of a virtual online school. As a principal, there's a lot of things that you have to deal with on a regular basis that happen within the school. What do you say is the one thing that you deal with the most as a principal for VITAL?
When students are mostly virtual, some of the classroom things that you would have to attend to, they just can't reach out and touch someone.
Yeah.
So kids are still kids
Right.
all the time. So if people ask, well, how do they get in trouble or how do they do this in VITAL? Well, people find creative ways to be productive or sometimes non-productive. So a lot of times those things manifest themselves through technology, through messages or those types of things, just social media. But we don't have that big of a problem with that whatsoever. So I get to spend most of my time on curriculum type of conversations, student productivity conversations, especially with their high school. We have more to lose and gain at the high school when time's ticking. They're getting close to 18. We need 22 credits. And we want to make sure that everyone arrives safely, So we spend a lot of our time with high school. And then a lot of times just training people about what our program is and are they the right fit or are we the right fit for them. So we have a lot of informational meetings before we have our intake meetings, meeting with families and students, and just a lot of time and effort is placed into that.
Awesome. Now, you said you were assistant principal at Upperman Middle School. How long have you been in the Putnam County school system?
Been in the Putnam County school system since 2010-11 school year.
Okay. It's about 13 years.
Yeah, that's right. And when I came here, I started out as assistant principal. It was at Cornerstone then, but that was the middle school, the old high school, if you go back further in Baxter history. And then before that, Baxter Seminary and all that goes with that. A lot of cool history on the West End. But we built Upperman Middle School, and I was part of the faculty at Cornerstone to help transition into that building and all that went with that. Yeah. And then stayed there several years until 3 school years ago, and then jumped on board with VITAL.
Awesome. What do you like to do when you're not being a virtual principal at VITAL?
Well, 2 real passionate hobbies, motorcycle riding. My wife and I, we've ridden motorcycles in about anywhere you can ride in the United States and Canada.
Oh, wow.
And we ride them. It's okay if you want to put it in a truck or something, but if you see my motorcycle on a trailer in the back of a truck, something's went horribly wrong. Okay. So, and then we're big boaters. So anytime that I'm not working, we're usually either on a bike or we're on the water somewhere.
Awesome. Yeah. Enjoying the outdoors.
Really love the outdoors, always have.
Great. Anything big coming up for VITAL anytime soon? I know there's always something going on. You've got a new mascot.
We sure do.
You had a big
Blaze.
conference that was going on, but it seems like there's always something on social media. You guys do a great job of letting people know what's happening with the VITAL program. So is there anything big that's coming up that we need to be aware of?
Well, just a lot of opportunities for our students mostly. We continue to add resources, add program of studies for our students. We've added a STEM 2 pathway this year. So we've also applied for a grant where we can study hydroponics and water filtration systems and its effects on urban development. What better time to do that in Cookeville? We don't think of ourselves as being urban at all, but we've had a lot of growth in urban-like ways, apartment complexes, all those types of things. So,
Right.
so for our students and families that are in those environments and that are living now in our more city-like environments, that could be powerful for them. We have a in-person and some virtual field trips planned for our students, some based around STEM, some based around project-based learning opportunities. So just a lot of newness and things that we're doing, blending the virtual environment and the traditional environment. Just because we're virtual doesn't mean students can't come in and work on a project together.
Right.
It doesn't mean that we can't all meet in one place and go on a field trip connected
that's a
back
good
to our
point. Yeah,
standards.
that's great. Yeah.
So when you start really digging into STEM activities, sometimes you just have to get your hands dirty. And the vast majority of our students are able to come in unless they have a medical condition or something that they can't come in at this time. And for those students that can't, we provide instruction virtually for them too. We'll record the experience. We'll have someone there with an iPad or a computer that's literally taking the person that can't be in person with them and being part of the process. So we really have something for everyone.
And I would think that technology is there's always something new coming out. There's always something cutting edge, whatever, that it's probably a lot to keep up with all the technology that is available for VITAL.
It really is. We have an overwhelming amount of resources in Putnam County, and that is spectacular. We offer so many things for students, but it is a lot to keep track of. When you have lots of tools, you have to get good at using lots of tools.
Yeah.
But I've often said if we can't find something for a student in Putnam County, it probably doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to travel to a lot of other districts and a lot of other states and school systems, and we provide more than most places that I've been. And that's reaching, Texas, that's reaching, Nevada, Miami, Florida, the huge school districts.
Wow.
And we offer a lot for our students, and I'm real proud to be part of that.
Well, we appreciate all that you do for the VITAL School. And Shannon Pirtle, the principal of the VITAL School here in Putnam County, thank you so much for being with us, and be careful on that motorcycle.
Yes, sir. Thanks. It's been a pleasure.
All right. And that's going to wrap it up for the Putnam County Connection for this week. We appreciate all of our guests, and we appreciate you tuning in. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.